Hello and welcome to Breezy Chatter. Today I'm going to be talking about the bold and the beautiful. Once again, I'd like to thank all of my subscribers. Your support is appreciated. So now we're going to get into it. Let's start with Carter, Katie, and Paris. So it looks like Carter and Katie are trying to have lunch dates and trying to spend more time together. Katie's commitments to her family, primarily her son, will always come before any engagements or meetings or dates with Carter. And Carter's starting to realize that he is always going after women that are not available, that are either in another relationship or are married. And he sort of shares that with Paris. They do have a lunch date and they have a really nice conversation. They seem to get along really well, paying each other loads of compliments. Zende's nowhere around, so I'm just wondering where the writers are going with this. Sounds like another love triangle's on the horizon between Carter, Zende, and Paris. And I think Carter is going to let Katie go because I think he's starting to realize that he's going after the wrong women, but if he goes after Paris, it'll just be more of the same. So let's see what happens with this. Moving on, I want to talk about Sheila. She pays a visit to Finn at the hospital. Of course, she's in a full getup. She's got on scrubs like she works there. He's surprised to see her, but he's also wondering, like, what are you doing in here with these scrubs? And I hope that the wheels are turning. I hope Finn is starting to realize just how crafty his mother is. You know, there's nothing that she won't do to get what she wants. He has told her to stay away, to keep her distance, out of respect for him and his family. But she still manages to find a way to meet him or see him. And I'm hoping that he's starting to see what everyone else is saying about how she cannot take no for an answer. But Sheila claims that she wants to see her son. She's concerned about his well-being, especially since Jack just dropped this huge bomb on them. And Finn, he did thank her for convincing Jack to tell the truth because now he knows who his biological parents are. But, you know, he didn't really have too much more for her. I think he really just wanted her to leave. And Sheila, she had to fess up and admit that she's sort of wishing that she could make the progress with him that Deacon is making with Hope. And talking about how she is sort of jealous of the fact that Deacon is starting to have a relationship with Hope. And she has to sneak around to try to see Finn. And she's blaming Steffi. I have to hand it to Finn. He did make it very clear to Sheila that Deacon's circumstance with Hope and his circumstance with his wife and her family and Sheila are two totally different stories. What Deacon has done may be a little more forgivable to some than what Sheila has done. And lastly, I want to talk about Ridge, Hope, Brooke, and Deacon. So it looks like Ridge is threatened by Deacon's return, and he is against Hope getting to know her father. So much that Ridge feels that Hope should move out. If Hope wants to have a relationship with her father so terribly, she should leave. Ridge made it very clear to Brooke, and he also made it very clear to Hope that Deacon is not welcome in their home. So we all know that Brooke has this really strong connection with her daughter. And based on what we've seen in the past, I think if Brooke has to choose between her daughter and Ridge, Ridge may be the one packing because she will do anything to keep her daughter under the same roof or in close proximity to her. So Ridge is going to be in for a very rude awakening. Brooke is hoping that there are no other motives behind Deacon's interest in getting to know his daughter. Ridge is not foolish. He knows that Deacon has always had a thing for Brooke, and he knows that it's only a matter of time before Deacon puts a move on Brooke. Sure enough, this week we saw him talking to Brooke and sort of trying to get her to go down memory lane like it was this great love affair that they had when it was really tragic. Like Ridge said, one of the biggest mistakes of her life. And when Ridge reminds everyone, reminds Deacon, reminds Hope, reminds Brooke of what Brooke's union with Deacon represented, they all sort of resent it. They don't want to hear that. They want to forget about Bridget. They just want to talk about the outcome of their affair, which is Hope, and how lovely she is and how beautiful she is. And no matter how much Ridge tries to throw Deacon out, Brooke is always going to stop him from doing so. Ridge did have a conversation with Brooke, and he did ask her pretty much, should he be worried? Is she starting to have feelings for him? And although she looks insulted, she never really answers the question. She never gives Ridge the reassurance that he's looking for. So what Ridge does is he decides that maybe it is a good idea that Hope leave. And he pays a visit to Hope, and he sort of tells her, he doesn't ask her, he tells her, you need to leave. And it was so funny to watch because Hope used moving out as a tool. She used that to get her mother in line with her. She said, you know, you won't accept my dad. I'll just pack up and leave. And she knew that that would make her mother anxious. She knew that would straighten her mother out. And her mother would say, oh, no, 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 you don't have to leave. Don't worry. We'll work this out somehow. I'll speak to Ridge. We'll work it out. And that's exactly what happened. Hope had no intentions of leaving. And then when Ridge says, well, why don't you go then? You know, that's a bright idea. Hope, I think it is best that you leave because I won't accept Deacon in my household. Hope is looking at him, and of course she's angry because there's always been some resentment there for years now. Ever since the Liam, Steffi, and Hope love triangle, there's always been some resentment. And Hope looks at Ridge and she says, oh, you are asking me to leave my mother's home? And he said, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. And I think in her mind, she's like, oh, really? We'll see about that. Because when Brooke finds out that Ridge wants Hope, Liam, and the grandkids to go, oh, it's going to be hell and brimstone, okay? It is going to be a hot, holy mess because Brooke is not going to have it. She already lost one daughter. She made it clear she has no intentions of losing another. The one that will be packing is Ridge. What do you guys think? Do you think Brooke is going to send Ridge packing, or is Ridge just going to leave on his own out of anger and feeling that his wife doesn't have his side? Will Brooke fall for Deacon? Will she fall into the temptation and the reminiscing and the fact that Hope will probably encourage that relationship? What's going to happen there? Will Liam leave Hope out of frustration, or will he also fall in line and do as Hope says? This week was quite interesting. Next week is going to be even more interesting. I did read in the spoilers that Thomas is also going to support his dad. So if Thomas is supporting his dad, where does that leave Douglas? We're going to have some serious issues coming up in the coming weeks. I cannot wait to watch. If you like my commentary, hit like, subscribe, and leave comments. Thank you for your time. Until next time, ta-ta.